Welcome to another 6x9 Storyteller episode. Please subscribe and give me a like and share my video if you're enjoying them. Now, let's begin with today's stories.
Tifu by ghosting a person and potentially contributing to their borderline personality disorder. I met this person, let's call them Joe, on my first ever Comic-Con. They just stopped me mid-track, commenting on my t-shirt. It turned out we shared passion for the same obscure franchise. We spent some time chatting and exchanged our contacts. Few days later I got an invite, which I accepted, but due to being an introvert, I lacked confidence to initiate conversation. Took me several days to finally muster some courage and we started texting. As days passed I got more and more confident, we spent more and more time texting, even Skype calling. You can probably tell now how many years ago that was. Finally we decided to meet IRL for the first time after that con. It was one of the best days of that summer, though I wasn't quite sure where our relationship was going. One time Joe gave me a lot of hearty hugs, held my hand when I was about to leave for my train, and if I remember correctly, even slept on my lap when we were chilling in the park. On the other hand, I recalled Joe telling me that I am like a sibling to them, but back then I was too young and dumb to see red flags. Yet after that meeting, our friendship only seemed to grow. Now that Joe got my phone number, I was receiving sweet good morning messages first thing in the morning, and we've spent even more time chatting. The best was yet to come. As for a birthday, I got 3 hand-drawn pictures, and honestly these were the best presents I've received up to that moment. Overall, Joe seemed like kind of person I was missing in my life, as nerdy and as mean, even quirkier than I am, and I felt more comfortable with them than with other than my normie friends. Bless all of them, however. It could only get better and I was anxious for our next meeting. And then one day, through our casual conversation, I deducted that perhaps our sexual orientations don't align. I made the decision to lay out all my feelings and ask right away to confirm my worries. It got a bit awkward for a moment and Joe felt sorry, saying they hadn't been in that situation before, but me being me, I reassured them I still want to be friends, and we should absolutely meet again, which we did. Joe apologized to me again, really didn't have to, and we spent some good hours talking and doing stuff, though deep inside it didn't feel the same as it was before. After that meeting I felt drained, and wasn't sure what to do next. At the time I was busy with my studies, so I already had plenty things to occupy my head. There were many thoughts going on simultaneously. I was heartbroken, angry, and at the same time I tried to reason with those feelings. I knew it was not their fault, and ruining a good friendship seemed like a horrible thing to do. I decided to do nothing for some time, and when Joe wrote to me why I'm silent, I merely replied that I have to study, but we will meet on a next con. Unbeknownst to them, that con was our last meeting and our last interaction ever. At that time I was contemplating on deleting my Facebook account, and since it coincided with Joe losing their phone, I thought it would be the perfect moment to smoothly remove Joe from my life before I would release all of my teenage angst on them. It was a cowardly decision, but it worked and my mind was sort of at peace. Few years later, one of my other friends asked me, "Hey, what was that person name that you were meeting in year 40? I replied, and they said, "Well, I was acquainted to them once thanks to my new partner." Apparently Joe were diagnosed with borderline personality disorder and spent some time in psychiatric hospital. At that time I didn't know much about mental health and couldn't care less about that revelation. Another few years later, I was going through my old belongings in my parents' house when I came across drawings from Joe. Despite all these years I decided to keep them because, well, they were genuinely nice things. A flood of memories struck me and I thought to myself, what was I thinking? There was no excuse for my shitty behavior. By this time I've also learned that what I did even had its name, ghosting. I told the whole story to my current partner, wondering if maybe I should contact Joe and apologize. My partner, who has their own share of mental struggles, told me that perhaps it is not the best idea, as it may open up some old wounds and I might never know how Joe would react after that many years. So I gave up on that idea. Present time, though I could never anticipate it, my mental health has significantly declined to the point where I'm considering psychotherapy. And while doing some research and preparing myself for a visit, I came across an article about BPD. I read through and became absolutely embarrassed of myself. One of the symptoms of borderline personality syndrome is fear of abandonment. And what I did? I ghosted a person who thought of me as a sibling they never had. Good riddance, you insensitive dumbfuck, you might as well contributed to their mental decline. The thought of apologizing to Joe came back to me, but even now I'm quite not sure if this is appropriate. Am I doing this for them, or merely to relieve myself of a burden I've been holding for many years? Maybe they have moved on while I am the only one overthinking it?